Hello, Motor Rider World fans, and welcome to another episode of Scoop or Poop. And this time we're going to have a look at the situation that is at RNF Aprilia. Obviously, they've made the big switch from Yamaha machinery to Aprilia for the 2023 season, but now they have to make the decision on who their two riders are going to be. So there's four big candidates up for the spot that I am going to just go through, and we're going to just kind of make the decision that to see if it is Scoop or Poop, and go through the pros and cons of each rider. The first big name that is being mentioned is Celestino Vietti, the current Moto2 World Championship leader. Of course, we know what a fast rider is, proven track record in Moto3, getting better and proving himself in Moto2 now, race winner, championship leader, so big name looking to make the step up from Moto2 to MotoGP. So the pros and cons with Vietti. Pros being Italian rider on an Italian motorbike in MotoGP. Italians would just absolutely love that. Another pro is that he's part of the VR46 Academy, so he's got Rossi and everyone in his corner, and that is a big plus. It's a big draw card for the likes of Razlan and his RNF Aprilia team. He'll also come at a good price rate, a good salary point compared to some of the other riders that are being mentioned. It won't cost a lot of money, so that's a real big coup and a real big asset there for Razlan in the RNF team. He doesn't have the budget as some of the other teams do, so he's really got to be price conscious when it comes to rider salary. So Vietti could be a good option there. The cons with Vietti is lack of MotoGP experience. Razlan has had a tough time the last couple of seasons in MotoGP since Quartararo and Morbidelli left. The Rossi exercise didn't really work. The Dovi exercise didn't really work. So does Razlan now want to go get a rider with no MotoGP proven track record and put him in and have this patience to wait a season to gain experience? Or is he going to be looking at more tried and tested MotoGP riders who have experience with the Michelin tires and MotoGP racing and the paddock and everything, and put them in and look at getting results straight off the bat? Now that he's made the move from Yamaha to Aprilia, and with that Aprilia machinery proving itself in MotoGP, I don't think Razlan is really in this, okay, well, let's wait and develop and take time. He wants results and he wants them now. So that could play in against Celestino Vietti's move from Moto2 up to MotoGP. Another name that's being mentioned, and this looks like more of a scoop rather than a poop. The Vietti is kind of a 50-50, could be scoop or poop, but this looks more of a scoop, is Raul Fernandez signing for RNF Aprilia. We've spoken about it over the last couple of weeks already. Fernandez not happy in KTM, not happy at Tech 3, hasn't really had a good time there, had a phenomenal season in Moto 2. We all know the talent, and that's kind of what everyone is holding on to, is that talent that we all saw in Moto 2, because he certainly hasn't done anything in MotoGP since his time there. But in his defense, he didn't really want to move up to MotoGP, certainly with KTM for this season. And it looks like mentally he's just blocked himself out there. It is a bit of a toxic relationship going on there at the moment. KTM is doing everything they can to kind of block his move. We know that Yamaha wanted to sign him for this season in MotoGP. KTM again kind of blocked that because they had him under contract. So now they're trying to make life as difficult as they possibly can for Raul Fernandez not to talk to RNF Aprilia too soon, and. So it looks like a very toxic relationship there. But pros to Raul Fernandez obviously is the Moto2 season that he had last year. Fantastic. Top rider, should have won the championship, won races. We all know the talent that is in there somewhere. And if he were to sign with RNF Aprilia, it would be up to Razlan and that team to make him comfortable. Seems like one of those riders that if he's in a comfortable environment, he will be really fast. So that is a huge pro, is that Raul Fernandez, we know how fast he can be. Another pro is that he will have a year experience in MotoGP on the Michelin tires, racing in MotoGP in the paddock, so he'll know that. So Razlan and Aprilia aren't signing a rider like Vietti coming from Moto2 with no MotoGP experience. They will be signing a top rider in the name of Raul Fernandez with MotoGP experience, ready to go and attack the 2023 season. Another pro is that he could probably come also at a little bit cheaper compared to the next rider that I'll mention. His salary won't be this outrageous salary. It'll be a couple of €100,000, if not millions, cheaper than the next rider I'm going to mention. So that is it. The cons, obviously, as I said, is Raul hasn't really proven himself in MotoGP, despite this big talent that we know he is. Mentally, he looks a little bit soft, injury-wise as well. He's had a couple of big crashes and hurt himself a little bit. So that's more things that Razlan and Aprilia will have to weigh up before looking at signing Raul Fernandez, although it does look like it's pretty much a done deal. Raul Fernandez going to RNF Aprilia for 2023. Then the next big name is Alex Rins. Now we know that when Suzuki pulled out of MotoGP, Alex Rins and Joan Mir became available. Joan Mir, it still looks like he's going to be going to Repsol Honda, although that move has been stalled. Could find him maybe going to one of the Ducati teams or something, but it looks like Repsol Honda is where Joan Mir will be going. Alex Rins, could RNF Aprilia be a good option for him? It certainly could be. Aprilia machinery doing fantastic things in the MotoGP paddock at the moment, and Alex Rins on there could be a great scoop for RNF Aprilia. Pros to Alex Rins: he's a race winner. We know how fast he is in MotoGP. He's been there many years now. He's won a couple of races. He's been on the podium a couple of times. So he really is an established fast name in the MotoGP paddock. Cons, salary-wise, could come at quite an expense to Razlan and Aprilia. We know that there's not massive funding when it comes to Razlan and his team, so that could be a little bit of a handbrake when it comes to negotiations there. Alex wanting X amount, RNF offering X amount. Another con is this inconsistency that Alex Rins has in MotoGP. We know how fast he is. We know he can win races and get on the podium, but we also know that he can land on his head more often than not. So that'll be something that Razlan and RNF will have to just weigh up going into these negotiations, ready to sign him. If the race-winning podium getting Alex Rins signs up, sure, but if this inconsistent Rins that keeps landing on his head, costing them a lot of money in repair bills, that's something they're going to have to weigh up and wait and see that happens. The fourth name is a little bit closer to home, and for us South African fans, is Darryn Binder. Now, Darryn really has proven himself, so pros to that is really has proven himself over the last couple of race meetings. Mugello and Catalunya, remembering that Darryn Binder came from Moto3 and within a 7-month period has managed to almost week in and week out now, certainly in Mugello and Catalunya, dice with or beat the best that Moto2 had to offer from last year, Remy Gardner and Raul Fernandez. Certainly in the case of Raul Fernandez, Darryn Binder is week in, week out ahead of him. Remy Gardner, they're having a really good tussle in the Rookies Championship as well. Begzeki sits top, Darryn Binder second, Remy Gardner in third place. So Darryn has proven his worth in the MotoGP paddock, especially over the last couple of races. Still has a long season to go, but it looks like he's starting to gather momentum, and certainly with that top 10 finish in Mandalika as well in the rain. Catalunya, Mugello results as well, really in favor of Darryn Binder. If you look at him now in terms of Yamaha, second Yamaha in both those races, beating the likes of Franco Morbidelli and Andrea Dovizioso on factory spec machines. Let's not forget, Darryn Binder is on the lower spec Yamaha, probably on the worst bike in the field, and Yari is beating the likes of Remy Gardner, Raul Fernandez, DJ Antonio, factory rider Frankie Morbidelli, factory rider Andrea Dovizioso, his very own teammate as well. Dovi a couple of years ago was a top championship contender, let's not forget. Frankie Morbidelli was second in the World Championship in 2019. And here is Darryn Binder coming from Moto3 with no experience in Moto2 whatsoever, making Moto3 straight up to the big bike in MotoGP, and within a 7-month period beating those riders. So that's a big, big coup and a big kind of tick in the corner of Darryn Binder in the positive side. Another pro is that obviously salary-wise he'll come a little bit cheaper, but probably the biggest plus is that Darren's in that team. Razlan loves him. Razlan knows him. Darryn loves the team setup. The team setup love him. So there's none of this having to adapt other riders and how they're going to fit into the team. Darryn Binder, they know, fits into the team really, really well. So that's another big positive in the corner of Darryn Binder. Of course, there's cons. The cons being not as much experience as the likes of Alex Rins, Raul Fernandez with his extra Moto2 experience, Celestino Vietti with his extra Moto2 experience. But then again, that can all go out the window because Darryn Binder is starting to prove himself as this established MotoGP rider that can ride a MotoGP bike. So we're going to have to wait and see how it goes, but those are the 4 riders up for grabs for Razlan in the RNF Aprilia team. He's going to have to make decisions. Now, it does look like Raul Fernandez is more of a scoop as opposed to poop. So who will line up alongside him? The Vietti, I think, leans more towards poop compared to scoop. Alex Rins, I think, is a 50-50 poop or scoop either way, and I think Darryn Binder is the same. a little bit on either side, scoop or poop. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you think, who you think deserves to get one of those 2 seats in the new RNF Aprilia team. And remember, if you want to watch some more MotoGP content, World Superbike content, and general motorcycle tests and stuff, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out our Facebook page as well for plenty more motorcycle and MotoGP World Superbike related content.